Alright, what's good, everybody? I'm gonna do a quick market review for upcoming week. Um, so if you guys have like any specific pairs that y'all ever want to see done beforehand, US 30, I mean, it could be equities, forex, I mean, you name it. I could do meme coins. It's all the same shit. Price action is price action is universal. So if it's something in particular that you may want to see, just let me know. We do have a free Discord. I started. I really started it for like my friends and shit. But if anyone finds value in it, if anyone wants to hop in, contribute, ask questions, everyone is more than welcome. There's no payments, no criteria. It's a free Discord where I'll post like different things like market reviews. I'll post different things like maybe signals here and there. It's not financial advice, obviously. I lose, you could lose. It is what it is. But different things like that, just different resources for traders, people who like the way I trade, people who want to learn from me, or people who just, you know, looking for a community to be a part of. So the link for that will be in the description. Nevertheless, we are looking at one of my favorite pairs, pretty much the only forex pair that I do trade outside of trade like Euro USD sometimes, but I usually like NZD USD. The reason that I like this a lot is because of the divergence between the two pairs. So you have New Zealand dollar and then you have the US dollar. So New Zealand is known to be a relatively safe country as far as like currency goes, different economic factors. It's typically safe, right? So I don't know if you guys know, recently New Zealand cut its rates. I think this was the second rate cut actually. Um, but typically when that happens, what you'll begin to see is the currency drop off. So it's like an indicator. It's like if you ever see, you hear about the Federal Reserve getting ready to cut rates, or the rates have been cut, the dollar is dropping. If you go look at the dollar, it's dropping, and that's because when interest rate gets cut, the value of the dollar is perceived as lower because the rate has got cut. So that's something that we pay attention to, especially in forex when you're trading different currency pairs. You have to pay attention to what the country is doing, revolving around that currency. So, like I said, New Zealand is relatively safe, and then you have U.S. dollar, which a lot of people like, a lot of people use. So it's just a good pair to compare with New Zealand dollar. So I mean, I enjoy trading it. That's pretty much all I was saying. But starting on the daily chart, well, we start on the weekly. So starting on the weekly chart, what I like to look for is just normal stuff, if that makes sense. Just kind of identifying what's being respected and what's not being respected. So for example, we have price sweeping these equal lows here. Like I said in my last video or my last live, I like to see I like to see price sweep a low before it makes a high. So this is the weekly chart that we're looking at. So it's two things that we can anticipate. We can anticipate either a really big move up, or we can anticipate a continuation down. So the things that we see on the weekly obviously hold more precedence over the 15-minute or the hourly, obviously. So if we continue to drop down, we just want to look at this reaction that's being made here, right? So obviously something here is being respected. If you zoom into this little piece of price action here, this level, which looks to be so 058344, it's a level that is being highly respected, or at least that was being highly respected. So what happens when we create that level? We created what I like to call a rejection block. So this is almost in a block itself. From this open to this low, I would consider this almost like a candle or a block, if you will. And what typically you'll see happen is once you find the equilibrium of that block, you'll start to notice that it also is within a range too. So like I told you guys last time in the other videos about ranges, you can also have so these are wicks. You can have wicks that create ranges as well. So it's different things that also create these different ranges. A lot of trading is ranges, and what range are you in, and then what's the bigger range. So we have 50% I know that's not exactly accurate. This might be off a little bit, but we have about 50% of this range here. And what we like to see is price respect this range. If price comes below this range, as far as a wick, that's fine. But if price closes, as far as like the body of the candle actually closes below this range, then I probably would expect price to start making its way lower. But if we start seeing reactions like these around or on this range, then I'm going to expect it to continue to go higher. So you just want to pay attention to things like these. It would be highly manipulative, and they can fool you if you're not looking for the right things or you're not looking for them in the right context. So the biggest thing is making sure you're looking for them in the right context. What does that mean? So for example, the reason that this is a rejection block, or I would even consider it to be a rejection block, is because it took these lows, right? So it swept these lows down here, and what's below lows? Liquidity. So it took these lows down here and it's absorbing all this liquidity. So that is the premise. That is number one. That is what even gives me the idea that this is a rejection block, right? So I hope that makes sense. So now that we have this long wick, that's one of the main things about a rejection block, is making sure that it has a long wick. So once we see that price actually has this long wick, we want to see it respect that 50% range. And it's the same thing as I explained to you guys before when we looking at ranges. We want to make sure price comes to that 50% range or comes a little bit lower into a discount, or if you're selling, you want it to come above 50% into a premium. And once we get into those different levels, then we would like to see price start making the move that we want it to make. So it's different factors. So this is just a couple things that I'm looking for on NZD USD. I want to see price respect this. If it respect this, like it's respecting, like it respect this level, I'll give you guys even a little bit of a better explanation. So we'll just go back and we'll find why price respected this level, right? Well, if we come over here, what do we have? We have an order block, right? We have an order block from this high to this low. That's an order block. We have a little bit of a fair value gap, but that obviously trades below. I mean, we do have a fair value gap, but it trades below. So the main thing that we're looking for is this order block. Not looking for, but the main thing that we see why price would be respecting this area would be this order block. So from this high to this low, we have our order block. And then if we do our 50% range, price comes a little bit, and that's the thing that you also have to realize. Nothing in trading is ever 100%, right? Just because we know what an order block looks like, or we know how it's supposed to look, or we know price typically comes below the 50% range, that does not mean that it always will come below the 50% range. So it's important for us to realize that these things aren't always set in stone. These are just general rules and guidelines that we want to follow, we want to look for, but at the same time, you also have to realize that these things aren't set in stone. Sometimes it'll come much lower than the 50%. Sometimes it won't even come below the 50%. So there are different factors that you have to pay attention to. For example, me probably would have missed this trade because mine would have been in the 50% level. That's a rule, right? So when you have rules, it's important to have rules in your trading, because once you have your rules set and implemented and you don't deviate, you don't dictate from your rules, you'll start to realize that you'll do much better in trading, have a higher win rate, you'll have more success because you have rules. So sure, this would have been a good trade to get in, but it would have went against my rules, right? If I would have tried to get in up here, it would have against my rules. But at 50%, what do you have? Yes, price came down and it gave you a crazy wick, but again, it came down below that 50%, and then it started to make its way up. And this is the daily. So if I was trading this on the 15-minute, the 5-minute, etc., I mean, obviously, I would have made my money, right? So that's NZD USD for you guys. on to the next one. So I know my homie like trading US 30 oil. So yeah, we'll pull up the US 30. I've never traded the US 30 before, but nothing is different. This reminds me a lot of Nasdaq. This is an obvious uptrend. I mean, it's obvious. You hate to be selling in a market like this unless you really knew what you were doing. So, for example, another piece of sauce I'll give you guys quickly: when we are looking for, when we're bullish, right? So when we're bullish on the market and we want to see price go higher, excuse me. When we're bullish on the market and we want to see price go higher, we want to see lows being swept to go higher, and then once we want to go short, we want to sell, we want to see highs being swept. So if we're bullish, lows being swept, and if we're bearish, we want to see highs being swept. So if I wanted to sell, I wouldn't just buy here and then just get in and sell, right? I mean, why wouldn't I do that? Because for one, you have to remember ranges. We have a range. Did price come below this 50% range? No, it did not. For example, what if this isn't just the range? What if this is the bigger range? From here to here, this is the bigger range, right? So maybe I'm thinking this is the 50%. I'll get in here. Well, maybe that's not the range. Maybe the range is from here to here, and this is 50% down here. So there are different things that you want to pay attention to, look out for, and just consider. But US 30, I mean, it's very obvious. We're bullish, uptrend. You can compare this with any type of news that may come out next week. One thing that I like to look for news, or where I like to go for news, it's called Forest Factory. This is September, so this is not accurate. You just refresh that, bring you to recent times, and then you filter. I mean, sometimes I use the orange ones, sometimes I don't. It depends. You can also add or remove the different pairs you like to trade. For now, I'll just keep NZD, Euro, and USD on. So this is the week of the 9th or the 8th, depending on when you say your week starts. So as you can see, Monday we have no news. Monday is typically a consolidation day. Tuesday we have a news, and this is for all currency pairs. Tuesday is typically our manipulation day, and then you have Wednesday, right? So if you actually pay attention to the charts, you can almost see how the week will play out. So Monday, like I said, are typically consolidation days. So you'll just have a little bit of a range, this is consolidation. This is a range, no real move, no real rhyme or reason, just kind of generating back and forth. What happens with this is that it's generating liquidity. On Tuesdays, we'll actually have manipulation. Let's see if I can find a week actually. Yeah, so I'll show you guys better than I can tell you. Start on this Monday. That's actually not a good one. This is choppy. This is like a whole week of fucking consolidation, and that happens. That does happen. Nothing in these markets are guaranteed or 100%. That's just kind of how these things go. But I'll just scrub back a little bit and show you guys another random example. I'm not handpicking anything. That just wouldn't have been a good example. So this is Monday, the start of Monday here, and this is the end of the week on Friday here. Let me just make sure it's the same week. Yeah, see, that would have been too far. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 6. I think it stops. Yeah, like 6. Alright, so this is a week of trading within inside this little box here. Okay, so I'll give you guys a quick explanation of what I mean by I knew it was gonna do that shit. So Mondays, like I said, we typically have consolidation Mondays, right? So just kind of back and forth, no real rhyme or reason. It's just kind of gyrating a little bit, right? So this Monday had a little bit of an expansion up, a little bit of expansion down. overall, we were in a little bit of a consolidation. It didn't really move too far. It just kind of set up the premise for a longer consolidation. Tuesdays, like I said, Tuesdays give you manipulation, right? Tuesdays and Wednesdays typically they give you the manipulation, right? So that's when price will usually fake people out. So for example, Tuesday's close, we made this low, and then Wednesday. So sometimes it could be Tuesday, sometimes it could be Wednesday. It just all depends, all right? These things can change slightly, but it's usually Tuesday or Wednesday. And that's about a 75% chance of Tuesday or Wednesday making the low of the week. So if you want to be a bullish trader and you're looking for a good trade to finish off the week, then it would be a good idea to try to find a setup on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And then keep that same premise in mind that I told you. If we're bullish, then we want to look for a sweep of the low before the high. And that's exactly what you get, right? So we are bullish. We are bullish. We get the manipulation on Wednesday. We get the sweep below this low here. And price trades back in, right? That's my bread and butter setup. That's what I look for all the time. It's always going to be a sweep of the low before it goes higher. That's how I trade. It's always going to be my setup, and that's just what it is. Typically, you see Thursdays and Fridays become reversal days. Sometimes you see them just kind of continue, but other times, in my experience at least, I see Thursdays and Fridays begin to sell off. Just kind of do like a U-turn. In this case, it actually went higher. When you see things like that go higher, it means obviously it wanted to reach an objective. And this is the objective that it reached. It created an equal low here and then swept it. Remember I told you if you want to sell, wait for it to sweep a high and then sell off. And that's exactly what happened. That could have been a beautiful move for anyone to be part of. But this is pretty much a week's worth of trading, manipulation, consolidation, manipulation, and then the actual real move. Wednesdays, if you get the manipulation on Tuesdays, Wednesdays will be that real move. But then on Thursday, you can see that we kind of start getting our expansion Thursdays and Fridays. If you would have got in on Tuesday, you would have did good. You would have got a little a little retracement if you got in around here. But ultimately, you still would have been in profit. So this is a little bit about how the markets operate and how they book, what to look for, what days to look for them. Just kind of how to go about that. The biggest thing with trading is time. I mean, I tell all my friends that ask me anything about trading. I tell everybody that trading is useless without the element of time. So you guys want to make sure that you are incorporating time into your trading as well, and being diligent about making sure your time. Another little crucial factor is to make sure that you are trading in New York time, because these markets operate around New York time. London traders, traders in Germany, traders in wherever, Austria, I mean, any place that you see on here, I mean, everyone is anchored around New York time, because New York is the fucking, I mean, it's the big dog of financial markets. So, just a quick piece of sauce of that for you guys. I'll look at gold really fast. I don't really trade gold much, but I'll look at it for you guys. Weekly chart. Gold's consolidating, so it must have just got to a key level, starting to get a little bit of consolidation. You see consolidation, and that'll typically scare people if you don't know where to look for, or you don't know why the consolidation is forming. So, for example, we had consolidation here. So we had consolidation right here, and what happened? We got the sweep of those lows that I always speak of. And what also happened? This is Monday, consolidation. Tuesday, you get the manipulation. And then Wednesday, around Thursday, you get the expansion. So it's called AMD. Accumulation or consolidation, whichever you want to call it. But accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Those are the three ways price books. But it's not always obvious, so you have to go in sometimes and actually decipher and figure out what's going on. But this is textbook. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. This is where you want to buy right here, or at least close to this level. But if you can get in down here, that's the best place that you could go to. So let's go more consolidation here. Overall, we have this higher time frame consolidation because we're trading inside this range. So this is also consolidation. So what we would want to see before we did anything is to see either these lows get swept or this low gets swept. Particularly, I would like to see this low get swept into like one of these fair value gaps and then trade higher. So something like boom, 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 boom. And then maybe here, depending on the strength of it, or maybe here, and then boom, 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 boom. But I would not want to see a trade below this. If it trades below this, it looks like a market structure shift, and I would just be out. If it trades above this, then we have this huge order block, and that would be great. We have this up move, and if it comes below this, then that would be a down order, a bullish order, a bearish order block, excuse me. And I'm not really looking for a bullish order block, right? A bearish order block, I'm sorry. So for example, these are order blocks. This down move, trades above, comes back into 50% of the range, trades higher. Down move, higher. So you want to see order blocks being respected. That's one of the main things that you want to see, is the order blocks being respected. So for example, this order block here, up move, comes down. This down move here is the, nope, that's not it. So it has to be a bigger order block somewhere. But I mean, even here, sometimes you'll get order blocks that work still, but they get traded below. See, it didn't get closed below. You see that? I mean, you see how accurate that shit gets. This is still the order block, this entire down move, right? And then price comes right back in and closes above that. So I mean, that's how price works sometimes. I mean, if you want to use a wick, you can use a wick. You can see how pinpoint that is, how price does not, barely, but if you zoom in on a higher time frame, I mean a lower time frame, you'll see the details, but price does not trade outside that level. So those are some different factors to look for. That's what I would expect from gold. And then last but not least, we'll look at DXY. This is just a dollar index, what we expect to see from the dollar. And personally, I've already looked at the dollar. We're in this fair value gap on the higher time frame. I have, we see price break these lows here with the fair value gap, kind of indicating a change of character, change of state and delivery, I'm sorry. And you also have this fair value gap being respected around the 50% range, and then price drops lower again. And then now we have this order block that's made, boom, boom, 50% of the order block touched, trade lower. So for example, if I was to trade Euro USD, I'm bullish because Euro is the main pair, so we would expect to see that go up, and then dollar, we just did an analysis, we want to see that go down. And that's overall, right? Excuse me, I'm sorry. So if the dollar, if Euro is doing better, is outperforming the dollar, we want to see it go up. And then if dollar is doing better, we want to see it go down. So like I said, we've seen this sweep. We got this beautiful sweep. All this liquidity. Price trades right back in. I mean, even on the weekly, you can see this. Like, that's beautiful. I look at that on the monthly. Boom, 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 into fair value gap. Boom, 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 50% of the fair value gap. It may come down to it, it may not. It's okay, regardless. And drop down to the 1 hour, and you can see how price came out of there and came back in. So, just a little bit of sauce. I hope this helped. If you guys have any other pairs that you want to see, feel free to just let me know. I'll do a markup, and then we'll go from there. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel, helps more people see these videos. And feel free to hop in the Discord if you guys want, and we'll go from there. So, thanks, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.